Today we're in a new project, and this project is actually not really our project. This is a house of one of our clients that we built another house for. And this house is a spec house. And as you've seen from our previous videos, I hate spec houses. And this is why. The number of problems we find in spec houses will blow your mind. But actually, this is one of the biggest issues we've ever seen in any project. We have a trench in the middle of a basement. It's about a 2,000 square foot basement, 100 feet long, and we've had to dig a 3-foot wide, 20-inch deep trench through the middle of the basement because the builder who built this, the developer, wanted to save about $500. This repair is going to cost about $500,000. $500,000 to fix what could have been done correctly the very first time for about 500 bucks. So here's the problem. We have a sewer line that goes from that side of the house all the way to that side of the house. And that sewer line was not poured correctly. So the Yahoo that built this place decided to run that sewer line through this concrete slab. This is a 20-inch deep concrete slab, the entire length of this basement. And he decided to run it without a slope. So all of the water, the poop, everything nasty that goes down toilets was sitting in a flat pipe. And when you don't have slope on a plumbing pipe, it sits there because gravity is not pulling it down. And what ended up happening was they also not only didn't pour it with any slope, but they allowed things called bellies, meaning dips in that pipe. So instead of that pipe going at about 1/4 per foot slope to the drain that's at the very end of the basement, this was flat, and then it had dips where all that sewage would sit for days or weeks or months, solidify, and then stop the flow of subsequent water down that drain, forcing a block. So this house had lots and lots of plumbing problems. Now here's the problem. To get access to that plumbing pipe, we had to go through this 20-inch deep concrete slab. In order to get access to this 20-inch deep concrete slab, we had to jackhammer enough space to be able to put all of the reinforcing that we had to take out of here back in, which means that we had to run about 130 feet because all of the branches for parts of the house that were not along the center of the house also had to be dug out. As you can see, that's a lot of trenches. There's tens of thousands of pounds of concrete that we had to take out of this basement by hand. There's no elevator. There's no super awesome escalator to take all this out. These guys that did this work had to cut this with these big concrete cutting machines and then cut it into pieces that were big enough for men to be able to lift out and then lift up 15 feet to ground level. You see the walls and the ceilings. Everything is protected. Why is it protected? Well, first of all, when you cut concrete, you produce silica dust. Silica dust is a carcinogen that can affect your lungs, which means that now this entire space down here is covered in silica dust. Well, we know from the news reports that silica dust, which is also produced by polishing stone countertops, is highly detrimental to people's health. So while this whole place is covered, it's going to have to be cleaned deep down to get rid of all that dust so that the homeowners are no longer challenged by this. This is a disaster. And this is a disaster because the guy that built this didn't want to dig a trench and allow slope all the way to the sewage ejector pump at the other end of the house. That's about 2 or 3 hours of work with an excavator and maybe $500 total. This whole thing is going to take about 4 months to do. It's going to require almost a complete replacement of most of the finishes in this basement. And while the homeowners can't use this space for about 4 months, it not only is a tremendous encumbrance on them. Like, this is their house. This is where they live. And it's all caused by some cheap developer wanting to save $500 by not doing something right. You want to know why I hate spec homes? This is why. If you're interested in learning more about building science or about building a better way and not building like crap, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.